Okay, ready to start.
Already gone.
Janine, are you ready to go live? Okay. Meeting will come to order. We welcome you to the Cache County Council meeting, July 13th, 2021. And we're excited to have some special guests here with our Rodeo Queens. We're excited to have you. And we also have a Cub Scout pack here. We're excited to have them. And of course, the rest of you as well. We're excited to have you here. We will begin this evening with an opening, and we'll do a little different this time. We'll start with remarks from Councilman Carl Ward, and then he's going to turn it over to the Boy Scout Pack 47 of Hiram for a flag ceremony. Carl.
Thank you. Well, I was excited to hear that we're going to have some scouts with us, and thanks, Brian. We appreciate that. But I thought it would be appropriate. I'll offer a prayer as well, but I thought it would be appropriate to just review the Scout promise, because if we all were to employ these kinds of attitudes and these kinds of factors in our life, that we would have all of the problems in our country would be gone. But I want to just review them. Boy Scout oath or promise says, "On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight." That's a great pattern for life. I'd like to now offer a prayer. Our Father in heaven, we give thanks to Thee for the many blessings we have, especially for being able to live in this wonderful county. We thank Thee for all those who do so much to help us progress in the right way and to help us to overcome the challenges which we've been given to bear. We thank Thee for the beauty of this land. We pray that we might be blessed with the rain and the moisture which we so desperately need, that our farms and our needs can be taken care of that way. We ask You to bless us as we deliberate tonight, that we'll be guided by Thy Spirit in the things which we say and do, that they will be best for all. And we do this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. Now we'll turn the time to Scout or Troop 47 of Hiram for a Pledge of Allegiance ceremony.
Will the audience please arise? Good march. Pledge of Allegiance after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Scout, so much for being here and doing that. That was wonderful. And Carl, thank you for your nice opening. That's very much appreciated. We will move to the approval of the agenda, and there is a change.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion due to time, Cameron needing to be gone, that we move 11B, discussion of county grant writer manager, to 6B.
I'll second.
Second, okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda with the amendment of moving item 11B, discussion of a grant manager, to item 6B. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Great. And has everyone had time to review the minutes of the June 22nd meeting? Were there any corrections or changes needed?
Move approval to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of our June 22nd meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item of business is the report of the county executive, and he's not here, and neither is our deputy county executive. So we will skip that, and we excuse them. I forgot to excuse our county executive and our council member, Paul Borup, who's also out of town today. And we will move to item 6A, items of special interest, the introduction of the 2021 Cache County Rodeo Royalty. Lamont, did you want to do an introduction or say anything ahead of time?
No, I'm gonna have them introduce themselves, do what they do best.
Okay.
Without me found out. When they're finished, then I got something I want to address.
Okay. So I understand that our Rodeo Queen has some remarks to make. And following that, ladies, if we'll have you come up and stand here in front of the council and introduce yourselves. You can face the audience, and then when you say your name, you can look at us so we can see who you are. And then they want to take a photo with us in the background. Aren't we lucky? So,
They may not be.
right? You can crop us out later. Anyway, if you'd like to come up, we'd love to hear from you. And introduce yourself if you want to step to the podium and introduce yourself there. Thank you.
So my name is Aspen Hunter. I am the 2021 Cache County Fair and Rodeo Queen. I live in Wellsville, and I am the daughter of Robin and Colby Hunter. So this year we have done so much already. We have gone to the Lehigh Roundup for the rodeo for one night, and we also went to the Eagle Mountain Rodeo for one night, and all of those were also fun. And we also have gone to some local stuff, and we love our local rodeos and parades. We got to attend the Hiram Star Spangled Rodeo and also their parade. We also got to do the Lewiston Independence Day Parade and rodeo both nights, and all of these have been such great experiences. I also got to do the Lewiston coronation for the rodeo royalty. So I got to set the patterns on my horse for the horsemanship, and I also got to crown the new royalty. And let me tell you, the faces that they make when they get their name called to be crowned is a special moment. And rodeo queening is amazing for all of the girls because they push them outside their comfort zone, and especially me. I used to struggle really bad with talking in front of people, but look at me now, I'm doing it. But it's been an awesome year so far, and we look forward for the rest of the year. We also want to thank each one of you guys for last year for really fighting for our rodeo, and it means so much to me and all of these girls and to know that we have someone to fight for our community to do the things that we love. So thank you guys for everything you do for us.
Thank you. Give her a hand. All right, ladies, if you'd like to come up, we'd like to meet you. Don't be shy. Come on over. Just come right in front.
So, my name is Morgan Perkins, and I am from Amalga, Utah, and my parents are Shane and Hanson, and I'm from Wellsville, and my dad is Ron Hanson, and my mom is Danny Mansfield.
I'm Avery Brinson, and my parents are Mindy and Eddie Brinson, and I'm from Richmond. I'm Bailey Bueller, and my parents are Brian and Shannon Bueller, and I'm from Smithfield.
Wonderful.
So
And
we are missing our junior princess. Her name is Quincy Call. She is from Randolph. And her mom's name is Brooke. Do you know her name? Nick. Call.
Great.
wonderful. Council members, do you have any questions for our rodeo royalty? That's a tongue twister, by the way.
Two from Wellsville, yes.
Some hometown pride
South
there.
End, yep. Just a little bit of pride.
Madam Chair, I was just telling Councilman Erickson here that this is my favorite council meeting because we get to look at pretty girls when they come in, and they're always so gracious, and they're always so well-mannered, and cowgirls are pretty special.
They are, and well-spoken, too.
Yeah.
All right, well, did you get your picture? Do you want to get close together?
Should we stand up?
Yeah, stand up so they can get you. Middle.
Sure. Do you? And I love it. Good deal. Good taste.
Can you see Barbara? No offense.
I know. I am standing.
There you go, perfect.
I can get on the end.
Or you can trade places with me, because she's a little short.
And trade Carl and Gordon.
You guys didn't know it's so hard getting pictures.
Oh, and Carl and Dave.
I'm kidding.
What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do with Gina? She's right here in the middle.
I'm down on my tippy toes.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. I've taken like 12, so.
That works.
Ladies, thank you. Thanks for what you do.
Thanks.
Lamont, will you go to the mic so we can hear you on the video?
I just wanted to make a little comment. Of course, the girls, that answers everything there. Do express appreciation from Trish and Scott and I of your support. And last year, this year's kind of just a cakewalk. I've been asked by some people, well, what do you think? You're going to have a rodeo this year? I says, really? Are you asking that? You know, when we went through. But one thing you'll see, and I'm sure you've heard about it, I really didn't know about it till it happened, but those books in front of you, the top of Northern Utah, and the ads that I've heard talking about that, I give each of you that, and then the rodeo book. It says there's over 300,000 that voted in that, but the Cache County Fair and Rodeo took the gold. They offered a gold and silver in different categories, but the main event they won that, the Fair and Rodeo, and I'm proud of that. And I was going to give this gold medal to Gina. You're getting it.
Woohoo! Yeah.
So, anyhow, nice. And the one thing I wanted to just end with comment is the opening, and I'll try not to get emotional because it kind of gets, where we had the Pledge of Allegiance and the Boy Scouts and the prayer. I want you to know that every rodeo in the country will have a national anthem, the flag is recognized, and it will have a prayer. And of that I'm very proud of, and we do that likewise, but everywhere, from the national finals to every one of them. So thank you for your support, and we'll do the best we can again.
Thank you.
It would probably be appropriate if Scott and Trish both come up and made a few comments. They've been with you for a lot of years.
I want to hear Scott. I want to hear Scott. You know, Scott.
Scott, will you come up
You gotta come up.
Yeah.
so we can hear you? Okay, okay.
So if you'd like to ride in the Grand Nature again, we will have the stage show. Okay?
That was fun.
So,
You gonna let us ride in it
you
again?
guys are invited to ride.
Oh,
There you go.
Yeah, we will. That was fun. Trish, do you want to say anything? Sure.
Worse than Scott. I just want to say thank you and how proud I am of our county and our fair. And it's exciting. Thank you.
we want you all three to know how much we appreciate you and the amount of years that you've been involved. You came the first year I was on the council, and we're talking, you've been in 20 or more years together. How many years have you guys done it, Lon?
21 or 2.
You know, it's been a long time. Thank you from the council. I mean,
We're probably the smallest committee in the United States and Canada. But, you know, like we get a lot of us. We are totally unified. I didn't answer that word. I'm sorry.
thank you.
Your shirts are awesome too. I like those shirts.
We are going to have a night this year with what's been going on. Thursday night, we're tweaking our family night a little. But we're going to have suicide awareness on Thursday night, and so there'll be some other things going on because that seems to be a huge impact in our communities. Yeah, turquoise and purple on Thursday night, so we're trying to recognize that too, that's the colors.
Thank you.
You're saying when breast cancer?
Friday night.
Friday night is breast
we'll be
cancer.
wearing pink shirts again.
Okay.
Patriotic on Saturday night.
Patriotic on Saturday night. Awesome.
Then we do have the Extreme Bronx and barrel racing and breakaway on Wednesday night,
That was really fun last year.
which we'll have to go over.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for all you do, and thank you to our rodeo royalty for being here. It's always fun to have you come. So thank you. Okay, we will move to our new item 6B, which was 11B, discussion of the grant manager. We have Cameron here. We had this on our agenda last time, and our discussion wasn't finished, and we needed to move on. So I invited Cameron to come back and give us an update of where we are and maybe some more discussion by the council on what we'd like to do.
Okay, but please hold your applause. I don't know, Gloria, I might take a little offense saying this is his favorite council meeting. I always thought budget was his favorite council meeting. And I found out it's not, so I kind of feel bad about that, Gloria.
Maybe wear some cowboy boots next time.
Maybe. I'm not curling my hair, though.
Curling his hair.
A quick update. I don't have anything additional to present tonight. I did put a job description, though, up on the server where each of you could have access to and see where we are in progress. So at our last meeting at the end of June, or the June 22nd meeting, Executive Zook made that recommendation that we look at hiring a grant writer and that we provide funding for that. And also, he proposed a grants compliance officer. In the discussions between now and then, I think the finance department can continue to do the grants compliance side of thing, but we are looking at that grant writer position. And so the job description calls for an experienced individual with at least a bachelor's degree plus 4 years of experience in grant writing, with a gamut of everything from federal and state, local corporations, nonprofit, just to be able to look at everything and not just seek federal grant avenues that we traditionally do at the county, but also to put proposals together for private entities that are willing to make donations to public causes. So with that in mind, the salary is looking likely to be between $65,000 and $75,000 a year. With benefits, that total cost is probably around $110,000 to $120,000. You add some office supplies, travel expenses, and I don't even know yet where we'll put that person if we move forward. But that first year annual cost could be around $130,000.
In department, what department will they be?
That's actually kind of still being discussed. We looked at it in the finance department, although my own feelings and with others that we discussed, that may be a little bit narrow for that position, and so we also were discussing putting that underneath the executive. It hasn't been discussed at length, however, so that's just kind of still in the air. But like I said, a job description has been developed. I looked at that kind of with its first draft. I went over with Amy in HR to try to fine tune that a little bit. But in some ways, I'd still look at that as a draft. If there's things that, suggestions that would come forward that we think would be good, we're certainly open to that. And then as it is right now, it's not necessarily a proposal that I'm making, but an assignment I was given to bring forward what that would look like and what that would cost. And so that's where we are right now. Are there any questions further on that?
Can they do mapping and sales?
It wasn't part of the job description, so it's possible, but it would be a coincidence.
I'll just comment that I'm still a little fence with this. It just feels like we're growing the bureaucracy, and with growing bureaucracy, we have increased cost, and so I'm not totally convinced of the need, so I guess I'll have to be solicited a little bit to see if that's really something we need, or if it's something we can. I mean, we've been getting along okay up to this point, and I don't know that we've lost any grants because of not having somebody.
I think it's not so much that we've lost grants. I would say more that we haven't obtained additional grants that are out there for us that we could obtain. So ones that we've traditionally had, we've held on to. Right now, the federal government's poured money down our throats, and we're handling that the best we can as well. But on an ongoing basis, and tapping into resources that we haven't traditionally in the past with corporations and nonprofits.
But we've also had other employees that have been all overtime, and that you know, they've been trying to use up their Saturdays, all this other stuff to, you know, facilitate these grants and to find them.
Yeah.
And that's really not even their job description.
Right.
Yeah, that's been my
So is there a way
concern.
to track what grants we have and what new ones would be come in? So we
Oh, that'd be
know?
very easy to track, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Is this something that we would need to change this year's budgets, for instance, in the next budget opening?
Yeah, this one would. There's no current budget for this position at all, and whether you put it in the executive office or in the finance department, there's no current budget that would follow that up, so it would take a budget amendment.
And that would be September.
Yeah, so and in September, if you amended that and we says, okay, we're gonna look at hiring somebody as soon as we can, then you're looking to mid-October. So if you counted this as the first year, you know, the cost actually would be relatively minimal because we're already so far towards the end of the year. But looking at a whole year, like I said, that first year cost just in the employment side of things would be maybe around 130 in total. If we obtain grants and then we need matching funds, then of course it would be additional funds again. So,
Council, is this something that you'd be interested in hearing a proposal for our next year budget, or something you'd be interested in hearing a proposal for a budget opening in September? Is this something we even want to pursue? Where do you want to go with this?
I would suggest we do it, look at it for next year's budget.
That was a thought that was coming across my mind. Let's discuss it when we're developing next year's budget. Yeah. I almost think we already got money budgeted, haven't we?
well, like I said, the amendment wouldn't. We have underutilized funds, as I said, in this year's budget, over $500,000 that are unassigned to any use. So there's definitely funding available to fund that type of a position, even at the cost we're talking about. And I know that the executive, this was a proposal that he is making, that he's actually been very strongly in favor of this concept. So just to communicate that, I know that he's in favor of it as well. As far as the immediately, as fast as possible, or next year's budget, I'm not sure where he stands on that.
Sounds like we're looking at it maybe then for next year's budget. Is there any objections to that?
I do. I think if we're going to go ahead with it, we need to have someone on board by the first of the year. And if we wait until the first of the year to get somebody hired, then it's going to be March or April before they're actually in the position. So that's my thoughts on it.
Does anyone want to make a motion? Okay.
Let's think about it a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, should I put it on the agenda again?
Yeah.
Okay, I will put it on the agenda again.
Are we not gonna advertise them, you say?
Right now, I don't, there's a few things maybe still to iron out, like, again, as far as like what office it goes into.
So we got a couple weeks in.
But yeah, but if we advertise for it, we don't have a budget for this person yet. That we'll take, we have funds available for a budget for this position, but it's not budgeted yet. Does that make sense? So in order to advertise, we'd at least need to know that it was imminent that we were going to adopt a budget. If not, we already have adopted a budget for that. So at this point, we wouldn't advertise yet.
Because we haven't, it's not approved in the budget yet.
Right. Yeah. Also, it's an additional full-time position, which is also needs that approval from the council that we add a full-time position to county employment.
We are growing though. I mean, as far as we're growing, just in the past 6-7 months here, we have approved, several additional positions, and we've looked into, well, we've even hired an economic director, I mean, all these things, they better be paying for themselves somehow, hadn't they?
If they could, it probably wouldn't be government service. It is, and I don't experience problems to the extent that the assessor's offices or the recorder's offices, but I have had similar challenges. I have someone leaving my office because we were trying to add additional responsibilities on that were frankly overwhelming, and that person could leave and do less technical work but make more money. So those issues of are we paying enough? Do we have enough people? That's very real, and I think it's not just experienced by those two departments. It's experienced by probably almost every department to one degree or another. And the hope is that grants maybe would benefit the county a great deal.
Next thing you know, they'll be stacking the council. You're packing the council.
We have
With
an
a
assistant?
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
There you go.
How about an alternate, then we can skip some days? I'd want to put the alternate in next week.
He just made a motion. Did you invite him to do that?
That motion's out of order. Chair rules that out of order.
What they're saying, they're gonna fire me and hire me back cheaper, so.
On contract basis.
There are several meetings, seems like several meetings we get to, there's a shortfall of, well, we haven't been able to do this, haven't been able to do, several places that, and it comes up, well, we need to have someone, you hear that so frequent in, just whether we're too stretched or the personnel, the people.
Yeah.
We're just so many people, it's growing so fast here in this valley. I think, was it Development Services, we're trying to find manpower to go out and do this and go out and do that. Someone to make sure that people are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and I don't know, we are growing at too fast, it seems like.
Well, there's one department in the county that is taking a lot smaller view on everything, and that's our water department. He hasn't got anything to manage. The water's all gone.
Guess he's out of a job now.
The last drop.
Cameron, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate being adjusted on the agenda tonight, and have a good evening.
Thanks. So it is 5:30, so we need to move to public hearings. So number 9A, set public hearing for July 27th, 2021. This was for a resolution to amend the Cache County budget. This had to do originally with the recorder's office and with the assessor's office. We were thinking that we would need to open the budget to give them funds to increase wages or hire additional people. But after talking with Cameron, we don't need that now, and so I would advise the council that we don't need to do that. And we could just skip 9A. I'm not sure the process there. Would it just be?
It's on the agenda. I'll make a motion that we not set a public hearing for July 27th.
Okay. A motion and a second to not set a public hearing for July 27th, as it's determined it's no longer needed. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And then 9B is a public hearing on ordinance 2021-17, the Christie rezone. This is a request to rezone 5 acres from the agricultural A10 zone to the rural 2 or RU2 zone located at 5519 West, 200 South near Mendon. Do we have anyone here to speak on that? Probably not. Chris, do you want to go ahead and present that to us, and then we can see if there's anyone.
I can do it now or later,
comments?
whichever you'd prefer. Although I don't know if we resolved the question on the resolution/ordinance.
Did resolve that.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, we did resolve that. So is there anyone here to speak at the public hearing on the Christie rezone? Okay, nobody. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded to close the public hearing on the Christie rezone. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Chris, let's see. Do you want to wait till we get to 11 and
That's
give us
wherever you
about it
want me
then?
to. I can give you feedback. I'll prep the map well.
Okay, that'll probably work better than if we just get you when we get down to 11. Okay, so we will move then back to item 6C. No, 6, well, it says D on here. We're going to move to, I don't know how we missed that typo. Sorry about that, everyone. We will move to Nathan Doggs, the manager of the Cache Water District. I invited him here to give us an update on the water situation and also an update on the water district and any possible projects they're working on. Nathan, thank you for being here.
Anytime. And Gordon, thanks for taking me back to the county. I didn't know I was a county department. But
Well, I guess that's right. I misrepresented you.
if I can tap into your budget, that will be great, because ours is really small. It's not easy to increase that tax to
It's increasing though, isn't it?
just a little bit.
Well, that's better than being a farmer, you know that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just give a quick update first maybe on the water year. I don't think it's any surprise that it's the worst water year in anyone's memory. We met yesterday with all the water users on the Logan River in Logan City. That water is divided by the Kimball Decree that came about after close to a 20-year lawsuit between the water users and Logan City starting in the 1940s. And then it has a chart that divvies that water out as the river gets lower and lower. But by the end of the week, the river will be lower than that chart goes. And so we had to meet and decide how it will be divided out over the next few weeks until there's essentially no water left to divert, which is a pretty sad situation. It's not really going to affect the city, but it's going to affect agriculture in a big way. Gordon knows that, if you planted corn this year, a number of canal companies are going to be shut off by either August 10th or August 15th. Corn is not ready to chop if it's watered that early. So their only option will be to chop 2 weeks after their last watering and see what they can get. Third crop alfalfa is going to be non-existent in a number of fields and really poor in others. The only upside there is it's going to be worth anywhere between $300 and $500 a ton, depending on who you talk to. If you look on KSL right now, they're selling small bales that typically are in the $5 to $7 range. The cheapest you can find them is $10 a bale, and people are paying as much as $20, which is a lot of money to feed a horse or whatever you're going to feed with that. So agriculture in the county is getting hit very hard with the low water year. The cities, for the most part, right now are okay. Hyde Park had a little hiccup there, but they've talked to their residents. And a lot of that is because nobody in Cache Valley is really spreading the word of, reduce your usage. You see it on the news, you hear it on the radio from the Slow the Flow campaign that the district is a part of. And I've sent information out to the county and all the cities trying to get them to spread that word. Logan City, I think, will have something out by the end of the week because they're going to cut their DeWitt Springs essentially in half, and they'll be pumping from all their wells to try to meet the need. And so they're going to try to get residents to reduce their use. But on the smaller scale, there's a number of wells in the valley. There's a couple thousand homes that are on individual wells that they just flow, artesian pressure. They don't have to pump water to their homes. There's a few of those that are no longer flowing. So there's a few homes that no longer have water. There was another one I heard this morning. That's probably the bigger concern for the county as a whole. I've already met with David to say, if 1,000 homes are out of water by the end of the year, what can we do to mitigate that? We don't have that answer yet, but it's definitely a concern. And the real concern is this the first year of a couple, or is next year going to be really wet like has happened in the past when we've had these really dry years? If you look at history, within a year or two, we have a record wet year and we kind of come back to normal. Other water providers along that Wasatch Front have quite a few reservoirs that they rely on. So they're really good for a couple years for culinary water. If our springs are doing what they're doing now and rivers are doing what they're doing and we have another dry year, nobody knows what we'll do, really. I mean, there's not a backup plan for Cache Valley. We'll pump those wells and we'll probably be running pipes to other cities that don't have big enough wells to feed them. But we just got to keep praying like Carl did. Anytime you pray, ask for rain. And a whole bunch of it this fall and a whole bunch of snow, because that's really the only thing that's going to fix our problem short term. Long term, it's really opened people's eyes to why we need to do big water projects in the valley. Trying to deliver water through a water system that was built 150 years ago, as great as those pioneers did, it doesn't work in today's world. The sad fact of that is, at some point, we may not have the open canal running through the fairgrounds. It's a great amenity, but if we're going to have multiple years like this, that's an amenity, not a necessity. And necessity is getting water to people. And that's, we've got to look at that. So that kind of rolls into what projects we're doing. In the last year and a half, we've received 2 grants through the Natural Resource Conservation Service, one for $600,000, one for $800,000, to do environmental evaluations on 2 big watersheds. So the first one is the Logan River watershed, and we're looking at 3 main things. One is how can we solve flooding issues primarily associated with the canal systems that run through Logan. How can we improve the irrigation efficiency in that area, and what recreational aspects could we tie in to solving those 2 issues? We've had the public meetings with that grant already. We're right now developing 4 or 5 different alternatives, and then we'll run those through an evaluation process, and in the end come out with a preferred alternative. That'll go out to public comment, and then we'll try to get a environmental evaluation approved through the federal government to move to the next phase of funding. The good thing about this grant program is it pays 100% of the evaluation, and if we go to the next step, it pays 100% of design, and anything flood concerned, it pays 100% of the flood mitigation we decide to build with that, and 75% of any ag water improvements, 50% of the recreational components. So in all likelihood, the preferred alternative is going to have some component of piping portions of the canal system through Logan. It won't be the whole thing in the initial phase, but Currently, the canals are also the flood control system for the cities. They're not designed for flood water, and so we've got to look at how do we use those to their best use and get water to homes and through the city to the farms the easiest and most efficient way. And so that's what we're looking at there. The other one is called the Wellsville-Menden EA, and that's pretty much just what it says. We're looking at the canal system from Hiram Dam to just past Highway 30 in Petersboro. 3 Mile Creek is the end of that watershed we're looking at. The same issues inside that watershed. It's a couple months behind the other one, but we've already had the public process there. The county is a co-sponsor on that application because they have a lot of concerns with their roads and flooding issues. You know, in the spring you have all that water coming off the West Hills. There's been a lot of issues. UDOT is a partner on that one. The railroad's a partner on that one. So we're looking at all those flooding issues on that side of the valley. Roughly a 2-year process to get to that approved EA to go on to construction. So we're looking at next fall of having that out for public comment on both of those projects. We're just starting potentially 2 more. One kind of Cove, Richmond area of the county. You know, some irrigation companies up there that have some concerns they want to deal with, and so we're talking with the county to see if they have concerns they would want to look at before we apply for that grant. And another one kind of in the Hiram, Paradise, Avon area. And there's already one currently going. Franklin County's the sponsor. We're a co-sponsor, but it's the south end of Franklin County and essentially Lewiston City that's in the process of doing one right now too. So if we get those other 2, we'll have about 70% of the county covered under one of those evaluations going on. You know, projects like that are going to be what meet our future water needs. You know, we've got to be able to do better with what we have. We're also looking at how do we meet the future needs. We essentially have plenty of water in the county right now for growth if we want to just take it all from ag. So if we want to say ag's dead, we can develop and we can double our population, no problem. That's not the district's take. We would rather see ag flourish and find other water sources or ways to use our water better, and so we can still keep the ag we have and we can still meet that doubling of the population in the next 20 to 40 years, depending on who you talk to. But that's going to take a lot of work and a lot of cooperation to make that happen. Because in that 40-year window, you know, the big project, the Bear River development, doesn't really kick in for us probably until 2060 and beyond. And if you want to read that 1,000-page document, I've got a copy in my office, but it essentially says the state's preferred site for a new reservoir is Whites Valley, which is just west of Tremont, about 10 miles. That doesn't seem like a good place for Cache Valley to store our 60,000 acre-feet of water. So in the meantime, we're working with USU Engineering, and each year their senior design class has to pick a project. So last year we had a group work on a small dam site feasibility study for Temple Fork. It came back, you know, it's a good site to do a small reservoir that you could pretty much fill every year. So small reservoirs, we're looking at 5,000 to 10,000 acre feet. So a little smaller than Hiram Reservoir. We feel if we could have 4 or 5 of those at multiple drainages off the main river, it would serve us way better. If we had 2 or 3 of those this year, water wouldn't be a concern. But the thought is we would design those and build those not to be used on an annual basis, but to pretty much stay full most years. And if you were going to have a big runoff year, you'd lower them early in the spring before runoff started so you could fill them. But if you're going to have a year like this, that's when you would plan on using those reservoirs. This year we have a group working on one up Blacksmith Fork Canyon on Rock Creek, you know, to see if we could do a small one there. And then we're going to do another one next year on Curtis Creek up there. And so we're just looking at small areas where we could get little reservoirs to extend our water. We're really the only district in the state that doesn't have reservoirs to supply their residents with water. You know, everywhere else along the Wasatch Front in St. George, any size population has multiple reservoirs to mitigate the dry years for their residents. That's something we don't have, and it's something we're going to need in the future if years like this become more common and we don't have it. Right now we have a great groundwater source, but that, I can tell you, that's dropping quick this year. To see those wells that have flowed for some of them 120 years, they no longer flow. You know, we're losing pressure quick. And some big springs out in the middle of the valley that used to flow 17 CFS are now down to 8. That's pretty quick for that to change. And some of that will come back this fall when all the cities quit pumping so much water, but it's not going to come back to what it was unless we get some really, really wet years. So those are kind of the big projects we're working on. In the meantime, you know, like Gordon said, it's just me. And so it's hard to do everything well. We're doing a little bit of everything. We're part of the Slow the Flow campaign. We're trying to have a conservation program. But to get that going to any big degree, we need a person to run a conservation program that can be doing that essentially full-time. So that's in our 5-year plan, is to get a full-time person on board to be kind of secretary, administrative / conservation efforts. So they can be working with cities, they can be working with the county, with the university. Right now, we put money towards Slow the Flow, and we partner with USU Extension to hire some summer interns to go around and do water checks of people's sprinkler systems. That's about the extent of what we can do for conservation. But you know, the state expects us by 2030 to reduce our water use by 17%. I have no control over that. All the cities provide their own water. So unless we can get those cities on board, and even on this drought year, it's a little sad that we have to get this far into it before the cities will even think about reducing their water. And why is that? That's where they make all their money. I mean, the little cities make most of their money from water fees. And so if they cut their water use by 30%, they cut their budget by not 30%, but quite a bit. And so they don't, somehow we have to get past that hurdle, that water, you should not run your budget off your water, because at a certain point that's not going to work. And so it might work for another 10 years, it might be 20 years, but it's not a long-term good way to run their budgets. And so we've got to get past that and figure out how to reduce that water use. Because if, you know, I don't know what the repercussions are if we don't meet that goal by 2030, but every 10 years after that, it's another chunk to keep reducing our water use. Right now, the per capita use in Cache Valley is 282 gallons a day. And that is a pretty big formula. How they came up with it, I kind of question how accurate it is in some of it, because they had a guess with some stuff. But we're on the higher end for the state. And so we're looking at a bigger chunk of reduction to meet that. And that reduction then meets our future growth needs to a bigger extent. You know, so the big message right now is, you know, water twice a week, your lawns. If everyone did that right now, the cities won't have any issue. But as soon as those canal systems shut off here in a couple weeks, everybody that uses secondary water is going to switch to culinary. And Hyde Park and North Logan are going to be stressed big time, probably even Smithfield, you know, because half of their city is on secondary. If they don't have that, some of those cities are going to have I mean, there's going to be a lot more brown lawns than you see today. And that message just isn't out there yet. So I don't know how we get that out better and get the cities to vocalize that. But that's, you know, in this type of year, it's a big concern for us. But again, we don't supply that water, so we can't really force the issue. So that's kind of what we're working on now. I'm open to any questions.
I know Governor Cox is really pushing, you know, dam prospects and, you know, and building and trying to get.
Yeah, and the good thing is
get us moving on that.
Is the federal government, there's a lot of funding available for big water projects, and that's going to continue at least for the foreseeable future through a number of avenues. And so, yeah, now is the time to be looking at big time projects.
I always thought that, you know, High Creek, Smithfield Canyon.
Yeah.
Every creek should have some sort of
Yeah,
storage.
and they don't have to be big. You know, they can be 2,000 acre feet. And we are actually looking at a little one up north there with some irrigation companies that could be done really cheap.
If you just pipe it right to my house, I'd appreciate it too.
Well, you're a little south of where we're looking at, but we'll look at that. But
story of my life.
yeah, so yeah, looking at those projects, but also this drought, Governor Cox is looking at really jumping ahead about 10 or 20 years on what we should be doing with building ordinances. Park strips should never be required. Landscaping ordinances need a change. You know, the county has pretty easy ones, but some of the cities, if you do a commercial development and you have to put in 1,000 trees, all on the perimeter, that's not good long-term water planning. And so the governor's, I mean, you'll hear him talking a number of things already, that park strips need not exist. And the word of, what does he call it? Non-essential lawns, non-essential grass. You're going to hear that a lot in the next little bit, of lot sizes being smaller and areas in, city parks, city properties, non-essential grass not being planted. And again, we're not the same as St. George, and we're not going to be anytime soon, but we've got a plan for a different way of water use. And it's a slow process to get that mindset. And if you don't believe that, I'll give you my phone for one day in this drought, and you'll see how many calls you get from homeowners, from water users on canals, from canal company presidents. It's nonstop of issues they've never dealt with in the history of their canal companies. It's in some situations it's ugly. The sheriff's been out on a number of them already, and I think there'll be more of those. And by the end of the summer, there'll be a number of lawsuits going on. I'm pretty confident of that. So it's not a pretty thing. It's only going to get worse if we don't get rain.
Nathan, is there still, I've seen on social media a little bit, there's still some people out there that don't believe that we're in a drought. I've seen people saying that the river, which river was it in Cache? I can't remember. It wasn't Logan. One of them, they said, "Oh yeah, it's full. There's water in it." And are you seeing that, or have you heard that?
I'm not on social media, so
You're
I'm
smart.
not seeing that. But there are. I mean, even anytime you see an article in the Herald Journal or on KSL or any new, if you read the comments, there's a group of people that either don't believe we're in a drought, and people are, the media's just using it as another tool to control them, or that the restrictions don't apply to them. So every Tuesday morning we get on a call with the State Division of Water Resources and all the districts around the state, and talk about what everyone's doing. And every district's got their different things, but areas where they have secondary water, a lot of those people believe the restrictions don't apply to them, because that's a right, and it's for so many acre feet a year, and they're going to use it no matter what, because it's in a reservoir, and they're going to use it. They don't think far enough ahead that next year, if that reservoir doesn't fill, they don't get that. In Cache County, it's pretty good. The canal companies are good. They know it's not a reservoir, and so they're already cutting it down. Most are on 50% or less of a share right now. Instead of getting water every 10 days, sometimes it's every 3 weeks, and just because the water's not there. But Hyde Park was a good example. When they came out with that, if you looked with some of the comments on those stories, it was, some people said, well, they want us to have fire prevention, but they want us to have a dry lawn. That doesn't work together. I got to keep my lawn green, so when the mountain starts on fire, it doesn't burn my house down. That's how they justify it. And if you're in a certain area, that might make sense. You want a little green space there, but most of Hyde Park is not on that interface. The upper stretch, there may be some truth to that you want some green there. But yeah, there are a lot of people that just don't believe it. And it's hard for us. And I told the state that with their original drought messaging is, they were talking about the reservoirs going dry. Well, we don't have any really to see. I mean, we have Hiram, but that goes up and down every year. So we don't have a big reservoir up the canyon that people know they rely on for their water source. It's all coming out of a spring or out of a well, and so you don't see those go dry. The general public has no clue what that groundwater is doing. And so it is a little harder to convince them that them using their water less makes a difference for everybody eventually. And ultimately, the Great Salt Lake is a great resource we have. We don't want it to disappear, but at the same time, we don't want all our water rights cut in half to keep it full. And so that's going to be a big battle over the next decades of how that mitigation happens. There's a group that want to assign a water right to the Great Salt Lake, and to do that, they will take a portion of everyone else's water right to guarantee a certain elevation in that lake. I think that will take at least 20 years of legal battles to make that happen, but the process is starting. And so as we develop water projects and look at things, we have to look at how can we minimize the impact to the Great Salt Lake, because it is a big economic boom for the state and environmental potential catastrophe if it does dry up for a long time. It's been dry before. Before man was here, it's disappeared. So it's not totally man causing the problem, but we divert a lot of water that used to go there, and so it does change it. But Mother Nature is the ultimate controller of if that goes dry or not.
Any other questions? Nathan, thank you so much
Okay,
for coming. That was
anytime.
really informative and helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
Good seeing you, Nathan.
You're not gonna leave us already.
I got my son watching the two little ones at home, and I'm guessing he hasn't fed them dinner.
We're just not that exciting anyway. Okay, we'll move to item 60, and this is appointment of an interim Cache County attorney. Now, I'm confident the council understands this, but then for anybody watching at home, I want to make sure they understand the difference, because sometimes this word interim is used interchangeably. So the process has been started for filling the vacancy after our county attorney, James Swink, resigned. His last day was July 5th. So last week I did send a letter to the Cache County Republican Party Chair, Chris Booth, to notify him of the opening and invite the County Central Committee of that party to send us 3 names. I believe they set a deadline for this week or next week to get those names, and plan on holding a meeting August 4th to whittle those names down, and we would probably select a new county attorney to fill that vacancy at our August 10th meeting. But in the interim, between now and when that happens, we still need a county attorney. One is especially needed when they're filing documents in court, like if they're doing charges, and it's good for the public to see someone's at the helm, especially if something awful were to happen. Heaven forbid, knock on some wood somewhere, that nothing would happen. So the state code allows the county legislative body to appoint an interim replacement from the county deputies, deputy attorneys, or you can also contract with any member of the state bar if there's not at least 3 deputies in the office. And we have that, so we would need to choose it from the deputies in the office. Now, my understanding is that 3 of those deputy county attorneys, is it 3, have filed with the party and shown an interest in being appointed as the attorney. However, and I would make this suggestion, our county deputy attorney who has the longest tenure and is quite capable of filling that spot, Tony Baird, has not filed and isn't planning to file to be county attorney, but is very willing to take on this role and serve as interim county attorney. It is up to the council, and we just need a motion. We don't have to have it written down, or we don't have to do an ordinance or something like that, but we can just make a simple motion to make that selection. So with that, council, I will turn it over to you to see what your thoughts are on that, or if you have anyone in mind that you'd like to serve in that position.
Well, I'll make a motion that we appoint Tony Baird as the interim Cache County attorney.
I'll second that, as long as he stands up and, and says hi to us at least once. We haven't seen you for a long time.
That means you get to visit us more often.
I'm just gonna fly on the wall.
It's like this speedy spandex guy that flies past on a bike, and in the mountains.
I think Tony would do an excellent job.
Yep.
I'd support him.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to appoint Tony Baird as the interim county attorney. Is there any further discussion or comments? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimous. Congratulations, Tony, and thank you for being willing to serve as the interim county attorney.
So I ought to at least be able to say something.
Yes, please, come up. We would love to hear from you.
Wait until he got voted in.
So I'm happy to serve for the time being. I was just sitting here contemplating. I've served under 3 county attorneys. I've been with the county attorney's office since December of '97. And I have not been to my job one day in my whole career that I haven't enjoyed what I do. I love what I do. I love my job. I really love the people I work with. And I will make you this commitment that we'll just keep the boat pointed in the right direction. And that's going to be easy because I work with great people. And we have, our personnel, I'll put them up against anybody. We have a couple new attorneys. We had a new attorney that started a few weeks ago. We have a new attorney that's going to be starting on Monday. Both of those are prosecutors. And then we have we were very fortunate the council approved a new civil position, and thank you for that. There's a great need for that. And we're in the process of hiring that new attorney. So we have some new personnel. Barb Lockmar gave us her notice a few weeks ago that she is going to be retiring September 1st. And Barb's, a big loss to us. She's just a wonderful prosecutor. She has this great talent, this great ability to really connect with people, and that's why she's such a good trial attorney. Once Barb leaves, I'm the senior attorney, the oldest, the most years, I guess, not the oldest. I might be the oldest, too, actually. Clark's maybe a little older. So I'm the senior attorney, and the next senior attorney will be Jake Gordon. So he was my law clerk. It just seems like a few years ago. Things change, and we face a lot of different challenges, but we'll meet those challenges. And I'm excited about the future. I know that the council will appoint somebody that will carry the torch, but in the meantime, I'll keep the boat pointing in the right direction. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. All right. Let's see, we are on 7A. Okay, so general plan update from the Development Services Department.
I realized my name wasn't on there, but I am Development Services. Hey.
We know.
You just don't know who you're going to get, but it's me. It's me most of the time. So I think it was really interesting. I wanted to start off by saying it was really great hearing from Nate kind of the update on water issues throughout the county. And I think overall at a county level, we can look at, making smart land use decisions for what, development looks like in the future. And I think that's a good way. And, county level wise, what we can do to help hopefully alleviate a little bit of the issues that we're seeing this year. So I do have a presentation. Thank you. I know, I threw you off there. So thanks, council, for having me for the monthly update for the Imagine Cash project. I did want to just do a quick overview kind of where we started with the project and where we're headed, just to give you guys a sense. It's been a long time coming, and I can't believe it's already mid-July, and we're hopefully going to have a draft by the fall. So just wanted to kind of show you guys what we've done so far with the project and where we're headed to next. So all the way back in August of 2020, when Taylor held this position, we started off our kind of kickoff events with going to the county fair. We had some surveys for folks to fill out there, and also had a visioning board for citizens to write things that they love about Cache Valley and what would make Cache Valley stronger. It was also a good way to just promote the project and get the word out of what we were working on. September and October of last year, we had an online questionnaire and visual preference survey, which we've got a lot of responses to with COVID and everything. It was good to go online at that point, and we did have a lot of people participate on our website. Our consultants held stakeholder interviews with over 30 people that included council members, commissions, members of Bear River Land Conservancy, Chamber of Commerce, and a number of other folks throughout the valley. Taylor, my predecessor, also held a couple of open houses
one here at the courthouse, the Hiram Civic Center, and the Mendon Station. Obviously, I wasn't in this position at that point, but obviously with COVID and everything, we didn't see great attendance at those events. So I think that the online was better attended, but he did work hard to get some outreach and in person during that time. In December, we held a video competition and challenged the public to tell us what they love most about Cache Valley and show a visual representation of what that looked like to them. And we had cash prizes for the top 3 videos. So once again, that was before my time, but I've watched those videos and those turned out pretty cool. So moving into beginning of this year, we still had online mapping events and surveys to allow people to participate throughout the year in the process. And just in the beginning of June, we held our public open house and focus group workshops on visioning. And so we've done a fair amount of outreach through the public in different ways to help inform and engage the public. Of course, there's always more that we can do, and we'll continue to work hard on getting the public involved in this event. Here's a couple of photos to share with you all. There's top left was that open house that we held here. The one on the right is at the Hiram Civic Center, and then the Mendon Station, and David Zook giving a presentation at the public open house. So far, our consultants have produced a number of documents that are all available on the Imagine Cache website if you ever want to go back and look at those. They started out with a full audit report of the 1998 general plan. They're a summary of those stakeholder interviews that they completed, a visioning document that was built off of the online surveys and questionnaires, an existing conditions report, and a story map. And then currently right now, our steering committee is working through a draft policy direction document and also a future land use map. If you haven't already, I would, this is the presentation that we had at the public open house at the beginning of June. So if you weren't able to attend, I highly recommend watching this video for just getting a good overview of all that the project entails from our project leads. And it's also linked on the Imagine Cache website as well. So looking at the timeline moving forward, if we're looking at the general plan, we're right at that policy development and implementation plan. As I said, we just had a steering committee meeting yesterday and started looking over that document. Next, we'll be coming with a draft plan for your review in the early to late fall, hopefully. And we will be moving forward from there. So thank you so much for your time, and happy, of course, to always answer any questions, concerns that you guys have with the project, but always appreciate your time and presenting at these. Thanks.
You have it, let me just have.
Oh, yeah.
Are there any impediments you are experiencing to move forward?
Yeah, so I think we're at a good point right now. Our consultants felt good about everything that we heard at those stakeholder meetings that we held in the beginning of June. They didn't hear anything that would significantly change the direction that we're headed with the plan. One group, and I think I mentioned this last time, that we're really going to try to target is some of those smaller communities that, the county has a lot of, unincorporated right outside of their communities. So I'm going to really focus on going in person to those smaller communities to make sure that we hear from those groups, just because they haven't been as involved in terms of providing us comments and everything. So that's going to kind of be a goal, I think, with this next round of outreach is making sure that we hear from those, the Cornishes, the Newtons, those smaller communities. But yeah, we haven't had anything drastically change the direction that we're headed. I think we're in a good place right now. So
thank you.
Thanks.
I had a question for you. I remember maybe it was last month, you said there might be some outreach online that you're gonna do in July?
Yep. So we're kind of a little bit behind schedule, but yep, that'll be coming next. We'll have online with the visioning, but then also doing some in-person stuff. I think like I said, I think I'll try to make a point to go to some of those smaller communities council meetings to try to talk to them about what's going on with the plan. So, but yeah, if anyone, of course, has any input on how we can reach some target audiences, happy to always take those comments. So
On social media or any emails
perfect.
and texts that I have?
Awesome.
If
Yeah.
you don't mind sending us any
Yep.
links or whatever?
Yep. I'd be happy to get you guys that information. I really appreciate that. Yeah. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks for all your work on this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, we had an update on the Children's Justice Center from Terrell Warner. Has she said anything to you, Janine, about it?
Seen or heard it all day, so I'm guessing.
Maybe she forgot, guess we're not. So, let's just put that on our next agenda and maybe, you never know with her, something horrible could have come up that she has to deal with, so. She's amazing, okay. Okay, so next item is 11A, and this is on the Christie rezone. And Janine and it's not Janine's fault because I'm the one the buck stops here. I didn't catch that this says resolution 2021-16 instead of ordinance 2021-17, but the rest of it is correct. The description that it's about the Christie rezone is still correct, so.
Isn't this a resolution and not an ordinance, though?
It is an ordinance.
It's an ordinance.
I accidentally put resolution instead.
We accidentally have the wrong word on here. Yes, and so, our understanding is that the council can decide, John thought it would be okay if we wanted to take action on it, or we don't have to take action on it tonight. We can take action on it next time, but just so you have that in mind. And Chris, would you give us a presentation on this anyway, so we know what this is about?
Happy to. So I've just put up on the screen there aerial image of where this property is. This is on the south end of Mendon. So if I were to turn on the zoning here, you can see where the county's at. City of Mendon is here. You can see a subdivision. This is all City of Mendon that wraps around. You can see this orange color is RU2 zone. That was rezoned back in 2018 to RU2. The request is for this parcel. I'll turn this layer back off. The parcel here is 5 acres in size. And so you can tell there's a home there already. A rezone in this property would allow them to place one additional home in that area. So as we looked at that as staff, we typically haven't made recommendations. I don't think we did on this one either. We're updating that as we move forward, so you'll start seeing recommendations from staff for RU2, RU5, any zone. It's been a long time since we've done that, but I think that's a valuable resource that we'll continue to use. But as the different departments looked at this, there weren't issues with the road. We did not receive feedback from Mendon City. And as the Planning Commission reviewed this, they identified unanimously that it made sense there. And so they made a recommendation for approval, given the proximity to the city, the proximity to the other rezoned RU2, and I'm not going to put words in their mouth. They made conclusions there that we assisted with. But they made a recommendation to send it to you for approval. The impact isn't significant because they're just adding one home. The real question is, does the zone make sense there? And the commission did feel it made sense there. Staff supports that. Where's their conclusions? Oh, they identified that it's in close proximity to the Mendon city boundary and allows for a residential development in a moderately dense pattern that can allow for rural subdivisions without impeding adjacent agricultural uses. really that's what you're looking at. The big change that's happening is you're taking the primary focus of the A10 and now making this property have a primary focus of residential. But still, they're not intended to impede adjacent agricultural uses. So kind of a balance there, but very much a more residential focus. I don't have much of a report there unless you have specific questions.
Pretty clear.
Any questions? Thank you, Chris.
Well, I would like to. Never
John,
mind.
did you have something?
I just had a curiosity question. What's the frontage in that gap there where the driveway would go? When I was in the meeting, I realized, oh, that's a bigger piece than I had thought. But
Quit trying to look at the TV. That's just killing me. Can't see it. So if we go from the corner, and these are approximates, keep in mind, you have to have 90 feet of frontage. And so let's say they did their subdivision and came back to this line right here where the property's at. It's about 100 feet. So when they come to the subdivision process, we have to check to make sure they have adequate frontage on that road. So they'll have to have the survey done, and then we'll verify on the survey that it matches what our assumption is here, that they have adequate width for a frontage.
I shouldn't have slowed anything down. But that was interesting to me when I was in the planning commission meeting. It was just more frontage than it initially was.
Very good question.
I would like to waive the rules and make a motion to approve, and we'll call it ordinance 2021-17, Christie rezone.
It's 17, isn't it?
I think it's 17. 2021-17.
Move approval for that.
So it's not 16, it's 17?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's.
I'll second the 17.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to waive the rules and approve ordinance 2021-17, the Christie rezone. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, so we've already done 11B, so we are on to other business. So this Thursday, 6 p.m., Cache County Employee Summer Party.
And I already apologized to Amy. I had signed up, but my wife tells me we have a wedding reception in Bountiful.
Oh,
I guess I won't be there.
well, we'll miss you. It looks to be a lot of fun. And Saturday, the 17th at 10 is the Hyde Park Hometown Days Parade.
I won't be able to be there.
You won't be able to be there? Carl, are you able to be there?
I can be there. I gotta go to my hometown of Skintown.
Still funny to call it that. Okay, any other takers on the Hyde Park Hometown Days Parade? Okay, looks like it'll be me and Carl. Okay, the Logan City Pioneer Day Parade is Saturday, July 24th at noon. Carl, Barbara, David Erickson has a maybe. I will be there. I want to tell you I'm excited. I'm in the process of arranging for us to be able to ride in a wagon, a horse-drawn wagon from the Heritage Center. That was a great idea.
Good.
So hopefully I'll be able to finalize that. We're just waiting to hear back from Logan City to make sure that that arrangement's going to work, but
Will the magnets attach to the?
I don't think the magnets are going to attach. We're going to have to come up with a plan B for that and write some
I'd have to use
signs.
push pins or something through the corners.
Duct tape, I don't know. We'll have, Janine, I'll come talk to you about that. Yeah, magnets aren't going to work, so. Then the Summer Salsas Showdown. So that's at our next council meeting, and we get to be the taste testers. That's July 27th at 3 p.m. Cash.
Watermelon testing for taste.
Should we have that the same day? Let's just get, we're going to need
Let's
it. to
equal this
cool.
out, balance
Yeah.
this out, man.
Yeah, because I was thinking sour cream tasting.
Right?
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm sure you could do watermelon salsa.
Watermelon salsa, yeah, okay, I could like that.
You can make salsa out of anything, can't you?
Yeah, you can. Zucchini, that's a good use for zucchini. Okay, the Cache County Fair and Rodeo is coming up Wednesday through Saturday, August 11th through the 14th, and we were just invited today to ride on the stagecoach into the rodeo, so.
Was that the Friday?
He said all 3 nights. Janine, could you help us arrange that like you
think
did
it did
last
say
year?
all 3 nights,
Would that
yeah.
be okay if you help us arrange that?
They're gonna
Okay.
do the stagecoach all 3 nights?
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what Scott said. That, that was really fun last year, getting a ride in that stagecoach. Okay, the Wellsville, Founder's Day Parade is Monday, September 6th at 10 a.m. That's Labor Day, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, and who would like to be in that parade?
Oh, I can do that, I think.
I'm fine.
I would be there.
You can put me down for maybe. I gotta see what's going on.
Okay, I'm not sure yet, so I'll just leave myself off that.
Councilman Gunnell might be in his mountain man uniform as he's
Yeah.
gonna probably be in the camp
Well, they took away my favorite thing there, sham battle, so I don't
Done
know.
away with it altogether?
Yep,
No more, huh?
Really? Mm.
boo-hoo.
Okay, the Usac Fall Conference is set for Thursday to Thursday. I think that's another typo. September 14th through 16th in Midway. Hopefully we'll be finding out more about that coming up soon.
I won't be there. I'm gonna be on vacation.
Okay.
And I have a Wednesday morning commitment that I can't get out of, so I could be there Wednesday afternoon and Thursday, but not Tuesday.
Okay. The USU Homecoming Parade, Saturday, October 23rd, 10 a.m. Anybody know at this point? That's kind of far out, but anybody
I'll probably be
want
here.
to be there?
I will too, I think.
I'll probably be there as well. And then we have our Ewack Annual Convention is November 9th through the 12th in St. George.
Maybe they'll even hold it this year. What do you think? Well, I guess they held it last year, just we didn't get to go down,
Yeah, we
right?
didn't get to go down, yeah. They held it virtual. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they're planning doing it in person this year, so. All right, so let's move to council member reports. Nolan?
The planning commission really appreciated the joint meeting we had. I almost want to say that should be yearly. I think there were some points brought out of there that really helped me and the others, so. I don't know what you guys feel, but I thought that did really good. And John and I discussed some things afterwards, and so I'd like to see that done more often.
I think it was a good idea.
I think that'd be a good idea if you'll bring it up and let's plan a day about the same time next year.
Okay, because the guys liked it too, whoever was on it. So that's all I have.
Okay, thanks, Nolan. Barbara?
Just by way of announcement, block out September 11th for the summer party. And the location is yet to be determined on that. We also talked about doing a service project, and we're not quite sure when that's gonna happen, probably later in the year when it cools down a little bit. And then we also discussed the Christmas party. I need to get a feel, do you guys prefer December or after the first of the year?
After the first.
I think after.
Okay.
I think we're all partied out all through the month.
Yeah, we're pretty busy. Okay, thank you.
After spring break. Barbara, thanks for remembering to do that.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Carl?
Well, did any of you get to go out and see the B-17 at the airport?
No, but
flew
my
over my house.
husband did.
Ah,
He loved it.
Good
He
for
even
him.
bought raffle tickets,
did he?
hoping he'd get a ride in one, but he didn't.
Well, it's really kudos to our airport that we have the facility that will allow it to come, and also the interest in aviation that exists in the county. And it was amazing how small it is inside. It's just, there is not much room to move. And they were saying that there were 13,000 of those built during World War II, 8,000 were shot down.
Wow.
And there are only 5 left flying today.
There's only 5? That was
Only
one of
5
5?
left. Yep. So that was a fun event. That's all I got.
Thank you, Carl. Gordy?
Enjoyed the parade there in Hiram. It turned out to, I think, be a success. We missed it last year because of the pandemic, and I think everybody kind of missed parades through that year. So they were excited to be able to have them again. So that's all I got.
Thank you.
Other than we need more candy.
You ran out of candy? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ran out.
Yeah, bought it all.
Did you really?
They didn't have any more.
Oh, shoot. Oh, goodness.
So you're saying we need a Costco?
Oh, gosh. Okay, and I don't have anything, so I see no further business on the agenda, so we will adjourn.